What is going on, my dudes? Tystra here, back again with another Genshin Impact video. And as always, if you guys like the content, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe down below and hit that notification bell. Today, we are going to be talking about the Genshin Story 2.1 questline, whatever you want to call it. And it has been a fantastic story. I loved it. And we're going to be basically doing a review here. So, a couple things. First off, quality of pictures. Please bear in mind that these are from Google Images. I am not going to claim these images myself, but I do want to say some of the quality is a little lackluster, so bear with me. I apologize if they're big, small, or whatever. This is kind of something I wanted to kind of, get into as soon as possible. Also, bear in mind that there are spoilers in this video. So if you do not like spoilers, please click off now. I will not be mad at you, but click off, do the story, come back, and we're going to talk about what happens in case you missed some stuff that occurred. But let's go ahead and get into it. Start of the mission. You start up with me with Tepe to get on a boat. Tepe was somebody that we dealt with earlier on in the quest line, so that's pretty cool. This will take you basically to Watatsumi Island to meet with Kokomi. When you get to the island, you'll find Tepe before heading to meet up with Kokomi. Tepe briefs you on what is going on, and we also find out that Tepe actually trained on the island before leaving to join the Logistics Corps because his training was cut short. Once you go to the waypoint, you'll find Kokomi talking to this man, we'll find Kokomi right there, and you'll find her talking to this man right here. This guy is Okubo. Give me a second to pronounce this. Okubo Daisuke. And they're talking about the army's lack of manpower. Kokomi also mentions that a mysterious supporter is helping them with manpower and supplies. We as the traveler kind of interrupt them in that sense. Give me 1 second. Boop, boop. We kind of interrupt them in that sense and find out that the men for the resistance think we have the strength of 20 men, which we do. We could split a arrow in twine, which we can. And, we have skin as hard as diamond. Wish it were true without Zhongli, but with Zhongli, we do have that skin, that's tougher than diamond. From there, basically, we talk to Tepe again. Tepe questions about the mysterious supporter, and Kokomi talks about that she had received a letter from about the stuff that would help. So basically, the supplies and all that. She has her doubts, and then she states that they need the lifeline anyway, so they're going to use it. Really quick, let me go ahead and stop right there. Bear with me, guys. I do have notes, so I'm reading off the notes because, again, this is a lot of stuff to take in. So if I kind of, stumble a little bit, my apologies. So, from there, Kokomi also has her doubts and asks us that if we find anything to bring it to her. So anything that goes on with these mysterious benefactors, to bring it to her. Obviously, no foreshadowing there. Tepe then asks if he could give better food for the resistance, which she agrees. These are kind of like small thingies too, and it kind of goes to show the relationship that Tepe has with the resistance. She says yes, she will get better meat or barbecued meat, but no alcohol. Freaking, she's another Diona. Sad face. But she also talks about how the Tenryou Commission is still a massive support of the Vision Hunt degree, and that it caused this civil war that's going on between them, the Resistance, and the Vision Hunt decree. This seems basically just to kind of catch us up to 2.1 from 2.0. So it's a good start, that's for certain. I really like the start of this little section. We then get promoted on the spot to the captain of the platoon known as Swordfish 2, which, again, these names are very, very weird, but they match how Kokomi is because she's very, she's in tune with the fish. She's like a mermaid almost, which apparently is amazing. Awesome. Tepe loses his mind. Kokomi thinks that we are the best fit for the squad. We then head to the valley to the northwest with an appointment letter to show that this assignment is from Kokomi. Tepe asks if he could help in any way, and Kokomi says that they will talk about the arrangements of what he can do, which will be explained a little bit later on in the video. Let's see. Boom. Once we transport to the meetup spot with the members of Swordfish 2, the platoon has already been debriefed about the Traveler, which kind of seems counterproductive because the whole point of the letter was to debrief them about who we are. Traveler however they have their doubts, so they ask to eliminate, or they ask us basically to eliminate a set of Ronin that have been kind of troublesome within the island. Uh, and it's kind of just a right of proving in a sense. And honestly, I was like, really, just kind of a right of proving, like whatever. But honestly, the battle was super easy. If you guys did it, there's only like 3 Ronin you have to destroy. Go figure. So, but once we defeat them, they go, we acknowledge you for your strength. And the acting captain, who is Kotoko, is actually the one who relinquishes his title, and he introduces himself along with the person on his team on the screen right now as Yoshihisa, I think is how it's pronounced. They're apparently the 2 main members of Swordfish 2. So from there, they talk about a new assignment where they're going to exterminate the rest of the camps of the Ronin because they're the ones that are causing the progress to slow down for them. There are 3 other camps, and we have to take care of at least one of them, which we do pretty easily. And that brings us to where we talk to them about the other 2 camps. They said they eliminated them, and they thank us for doing that, and now we should report back to Kokomi. But before we go and talk to Kokomi, we have this little conversation between Yoshihisa calling Kotoko a coward for not wanting to take out the camp sooner. Kotoko says that he wanted to make sure the safety of Swordfish 2 was intact before they made a hasty decision. And really, it's just funny because Paimon even has to tell them that they're acting like children. So, but from there, we then leave to report to Kokomi. From there, basically, we report that the Ronin had been eliminated on the island, which obviously they respawn, so no, they haven't. But I digress. Story-wise, we beat the Ronin. Wants to give us a reward, but can't decide on what to give us. She knows that she can't give us a promotion right away, or, she doesn't want to give us money, so on and so forth. It goes on and on and on. Honestly, I thought, I was like, huh, that's a little weird. We then ask about Tepe, and we find out that he is fighting on the front lines as per his request. So he is out there just battling and apparently doing really, really well. From there, we get another assignment to check on some supplies that have been going missing at a point where the Archon fell. So where part of the battle of the Electro Archon were. So before we go over there, we actually go over to wait at the training grounds for Tepe's return to talk to him. And after a short amount of time, he finally does return. So, let's see. This should be, yeah. So, this is where we start to actually talk about some other stuff. So, Tepe returns and he starts giving us tips on leadership that he read from a book at the Yae Publishing House. From there, we actually find out that Kokomi actually gave him captaincy over a special ops unit that just started known as Herring 1, which is funny because it seems like a consolation prize to Tepe. But I digress. Tepe got promoted to captain. That's awesome. He then talks about the mysterious supplies helping a lot, and with his underling shortly stopping him and saying that there's a new assignment. Just before he leaves, he coughs. Then we move on. So from there, actually, we're not on that part. We're on this part right now, actually, guys. Sorry again. I'm still trying to get everything sorted. So we travel to Fort Mume, which is actually right here on the screen. So for the next step of the quest is where the supplies have been going missing. After doing a puzzle at a battle, we actually find Tepe again. And Tepe is looking a little worse for wear. His hair's gotten a little grayer, and he seems somewhat older, which is very, very strange indeed. Because, it wasn't that long ago we actually just talked to him. So he talks about saying that he was delivering supplies and coming to check out Fort Mume, but saw the traveler was already investigating. During this conversation, he's actually coughing a lot, and it's a little strange to hear him coughing as much as he is. From there, we hear a little bit about Orobashi, who is the giant snake god that came with the settlers to Yashiori Island. But then there was a fight between him and the Raiden Shogun, and with the Muso no Hitotachi. Sorry, it's very, very big words. She actually slaughtered Orobashi and also created the Musojin Gorge, which is basically that giant ravine with a lot of lightning down there and causes a lot of, lightning sickness where you actually get hurt a lot. I hate that area, to be quite frank. So we also found out that during this, we find that the Raiden Shogun had lost something very dear to her, but it isn't explained just yet what exactly that was. Only time will tell during this, where we find out actually what happened. Tepe then instructs us that we should go back to Kokomi while coughing within 6 feet of us. This guy knows nothing about COVID-19. Like, what is wrong with this guy? Doesn't he know to wear a mask and stay 6 feet away? Like, come on, dude. Come on. But I digress. We then stumble upon Kokomi and Goro, actually, talking about a very serious conversation. We find out that many soldiers are experiencing symptoms of rapid aging. We find out also that the members of the resistance got a hold of secret weapons from an anonymous supplier that might be the cause. Kokomi now wants to stop all members of the resistance from using these mysterious weapons. We also find out that, Goro states that the issue is trying to get, or his issues are trying to get one. We find out that it is actually Fatui delusions that are causing members of the resistance rapid aging. So we find out that the Fatui are behind this. I hate them. I hate them absolutely. Kokomi then makes the order for Goro to acquire all the rest of the Fatui delusions. So he has to actually go and collect them from all the people because, nobody wants to give up their Fatui delusions. Traveler and Paimon then remember that they saw Tepe worse for wear, and they make the connection. Tepe has actually been using this Fatui delusion to, be more powerful, going to the front lines and beating Ronins and, all these different creatures or people to help out in the war. So because we find this out, we rush to, Tepe's training grounds, and we find Tepe, and he's now old, disheveled. As you could see here on screen, his hair is white. He looks way older, and he doesn't even have, the strength to even stand up as we're talking to him. He gives a small speech, and afterwards we find out that he has for sure been using the Fatui delusions, but he didn't know what they did. The Fatui had actually sought him out and gave him this so that he could fight on the front lines. And it sucks because it's like it's almost as if the Fatui knew how close we were to Tepe. Tepe thought it was something like a vision, but the traveler did explain that these delusions actually come at a price to use. During this, Tepe explains that, his vision's been getting blurry. He knows that his strength was slowly going away, and he hasn't had time to rest. During this, he's also very frantic about where his secret weapon is, the delusion. And you could tell he's very reliant on it. So, and it just goes to show you how, people who rely on strength outside of their own can become corrupt with it in some way, shape, or form. Tepe asked us to grab the uniforms that we were waiting for, and this is a very sad moment because you start to see that Tepe is slowly going into a sleep, and it's not a normal sleep. From here, it is presumed that Tepe passes away during the story, and it is a very sad moment indeed because Tepe was a big proprietor of the last quest and also a big part of this quest too. So it's not like this is something that, it's sad. So from there, shortly after, Kokomi and Goro are shown outside his training grounds, and we find out that the extent of what these delusions have done to the soldiers. Goro also talks about the soldiers are upset about the delusions being taken away, which we already touched up upon. The Traveler is absolutely upset and says that they will go to the Fatui delusion factory, where, they're basically making these in mass quantities. After some back and forth with Kokomi and Goro, Kokomi lets us know that the facility is near a cliff next to the ocean to the southwest of Yashiori Island. She gives us, she says she won't stop us. She just prays for our safety. Good luck. And then we head to the Delusion Factory, which is a big... Whew, this is starting to get juicy. Once we reach the destination on the map, we enter the Fatui Delusion Factory and go through puzzles and battles till we get to the end. The cutscene after shows us Scaramouche, who we haven't seen since I think if I remember correctly, it was like 1.1.4, 1.3 or 1.4. I can't remember, but we haven't seen him in a long time, ever since we confronted him with Mona. We confront him about the delusions, but Scaramouche states that he isn't the mastermind behind it. He states that the Traveler is getting weak, stating that human life is worthless. So he's saying that the Traveler is getting weaker, even though it doesn't seem that way. It seems like the Traveler is actually getting stronger, but I think he's talking about just the overall potential or something. I don't know. I'm very curious as to what he means by this. Um, he tries to make excuses for the delusion, saying that at least they die fulfilling their ambitions, which is a terrible way to see it. He also tells the traveler that delusions are helping with the Vision Hunt decree and giving the Fatui plenty of payment for the war in some way, shape, or form. They are also behind the Vision Hunt decree and state that they have been doing stuff behind the scenes in Inazuma for a long period of time. Scaramouche also mocks the traveler about Tepe as well, which is why I think that that they're paying attention to the traveler more than we know. Um, he says that Tepe is a lost cause, which sets our traveler to be very angry. But we notice that there's a weird mist coming from under the balconies of these buildings. It's like this weird purple mist. We get angry and we about to charge, and it goes to a cutscene where we actually stop and we feel sick. It's causing us to lose our strength and we fall to the ground. Scaramouche says that it's the anger of the gods seeping in and it feeds off of our anger. Then, surprisingly, Yae just appears in front of Scaramouche, and then we black out. So, from there, we actually wake up to see Yae standing above us. And honestly, for you guys who are into waifus, I highly recommend going through this story just because of the little top-down little thing that you see when Yae is just looking from up above you, like, "Oh, are you here?" So, great shot for you connoisseurs of the waifus. So, uh, check it out. Once we wake up, we start talking to Yae Miko, where she states that we shouldn't worry how she got us out, but to thank her. And it's a little cutesy scene because she's like, "I'm the one who helped you. Why aren't you thanking me?" You know, very, very uptight, but funny at the same time. She tells us that Kokomi and the Resistance cleared the delusion factory out, which means that the delusions at that factory are gone. They're disposed of and everything. She explains that she needs our help with the Raiden Shogun, or at least not the puppet. And the puppet was the thing that we fought in front of the statue at first before we went into the plane of Euthymia, which is going to be something that we get into a little bit later. But this was when we were trying to save Toma from basically losing his vision. Yae explains that the puppet we fought and the Raiden Shogun we fought in the plane of Euthymia are different, claiming that the one on the inside of the plane was named A. A sees that the plane of Euthymia is her eternity, which is the sword that she's in. The sword basically is her mind that she's in. So whenever you see the Raiden Shogun pull out the sword, that means that A is coming out of the plane of Euthymia to fight. So Yae thinks that A is throwing a tantrum and staying cooped up in her room, so to speak. Like, she's explaining it as if A is a child, which A is obviously not, but that's how she's explaining it. She says that A fears loss, and we don't entirely know why yet. Again, A lost something to Orobashi, or in that area. To how, we do not know, but as the story continues, we start to hear more about it. Yae tells us that defeating A in her plane of Euthymia will possibly shake her will and get rid of the Vision Hunt decree. It's the last chance to get Inazuma back on track. So we have to go in there, fight her, and convince her that the Vision Hunt decree is bad for business. So, with the plane of Euthymia being something where only I can enter, it's special that the traveler was able to appear there in the first place, which Yae constantly tells us, like, you should have never been able to go in there, but A took, special interest in you. Yae, in that instance, had prepared us a little training session where it's called the Anti-Raiden Shogun Training. It's basically this little fight between this little thing in the middle where it actually goes over the Raiden Shogun's attacks that we constantly have to deal with. Now, this training was absolutely difficult, at least the first one. The first one took me a lot of tries on stream, twitch.tv/Setsu, by the way, and honestly, it was pretty fun in general. But after we beat it, after we make sure not to get hit 10 times and we don't get hit by the final attack, we get another conversation with Yae where we find out that Yae is actually the servant of the Raiden Shogun. She is the fox spirit to the Raiden Shogun, just like how Dvalin is the dragon to Venti. So it's really cool to kind of see that. She teases us basically about our fox forms, and like after saying, "Oh, I bet you want to see me in my fox form," and then she says, "In your dreams." So she's very spunky. I like it. Yai says that her and I haven't spoken in a long while, and I traveling down a path where Yai could not continue with her plans. So basically, Yai became distant. She couldn't follow her because she didn't believe what I was doing. I never said bye to her, but Yai suspects that that has mainly to do with Ai's idea of eternity. That's all what it's based off is I sees eternity as something that stays the same. It has to stay the same. If it doesn't, that's hurting eternity. So you really kind of get the sense of how close they are as friends and not just a servant to a master. They're really close friends. So after that, we move on to phase two of the anti-Raiden Shogun training. And honestly, phase two is easier. You only have to defeat 10 enemies, and then you're good to go. Yai states that even with our hard work and training, we still don't stand a chance to beat A just like that. So she says that there's a part of her plan for us to win. And from there, it's basically that we can't do it alone. So the plan that she wants to tell us, she's not telling us yet because we have to actually follow her. And this is Yai's kind of personality. She's wanting us to figure it out as we go on. She's trying to like kind of lead us by the hand, but not tell us directly. So Yai tells us to meet her at the Grand Narukami Shrine, where she'll be receiving a special guest as part of the plan. After talking to Yai at the Narukami Shrine, we find out that she intends to incite rebellion with the Tenryo Commission, which is actually led by the Kujo clan, shaking the foundation of the Vision Hunt Decree, because the Tenryo Commission is the ones that are mainly pushing for the Vision Hunt Decree to actually, stay in place. The person in question that is actually visiting her is actually Kujo Sara, who is the commander of the Raiden Shogun's, army. So Yai tells Sara about the possible betrayal of the Kujo clan after Sara comes in and is like all huffy puffy, like, why is this person here? They're a wanted criminal. Sara is infuriated and says that Takayuki would never betray anybody, even though Yai is saying is that Takayuki is actually the forefront of this betrayal. Yai says to come back in 3 days and she'll provide that proof to Kujo Sara. So after Sara leaves, we find out that 3 days was not, I wouldn't say a bluff, but more so a stretch. But Yai has a plan as well. She tells us to meet up with a ninja in the forest who just happens to be Sayu. Where is she? Boom, there she is, Sayu, which we all know Sayu. Sayu is an adorable little ninja Takuni, or whatever it's called. My apologies to everybody out there. But Sayu is kind of a crowd favorite as she is a fun character to play, but her personality leaves a little bit to desired. Special thanks to Lily Pichu, who is actually the voice of Sayu. Hell yeah, streamers, go. But yeah, I digress from there. From there, we come up with a plan for Sayu to grab the evidence of the Kujo clan's betrayal, and we meet up with actually Toma and Ayaka, which is kind of cool that we get to meet up with them again and go over the situation at hand, because we're trying to figure out if there's actually evidence of this betrayal. Ayaka says that the Tenryo Commission reports could be part of that evidence that they actually need, which is fantastic that she's able to actually, tell us that. So that's going to help out with the plan, obviously, right? So our plan also involves a returning favorite, which is Yoimiya, the fireworks girl. We need her fireworks to basically distract the Tenryo Commission, or the Tenryo Commission guards. She is more than happy to help, giving us giant fireworks that will distract the guards long enough for Sayu to sneak into the Tenryo Commission's office and take the documents. So we actually get to where the section is where we have to kind of, stop the guards and all that. Or not stop the guards, but we have to stay hidden from the guards and then activate the fireworks, and then we run away. So basically, we go and activate that. The fireworks are activated. The guards are distracted. We run back to where we meet up with Toma and Ayaka. And from there, we get the documents from Sayu because she was able to actually grab them. But she didn't know specifically what documents she was looking for. So she just grabbed a bunch of papers and took them to us. So from there, We actually meet up with Kujo Sara again and Yae Miko over at the Grand Narukami Shrine. And we actually talk about, these documents, and we hand them over to Kujo Sara, and she is absolutely devastated. Like, she cannot believe that she's looking at these and seeing all of what's going on with the Vision Hunt decree, the working with the Fatui, the payments, and not even acknowledging the losses from the Vision Hunt decree or the army itself. So she storms off to go talk to Takayuki. But before we leave, Yai gives us what's called an omamori, which is kind of like a little uh, keychain of sorts in that essence. And Yai jokes about the possibility that if we think of her, that she will appear. And it's kind of a little silly moment, but it does tie into what happens later on. We then head off to the Tenryou Commission to see what's going on with Sara and the guards. The guards kind of try and stop us, and Sara and the Traveler fight them. And it's obviously a one-sided battle. These guards do not stand a chance against us. After the battle, Sara confronts Takayuki Kujo about the documents, and we find out that Takayuki did this solely to get paid. Literally, he's getting paid handsomely to uphold the Vision Hunt decree, which upsets Sara, and Sara says, I'm going to go tell the Raiden Shogun on you, because what you're doing is absolutely wrong, and you're hurting more people than you know. And that's when we go up the stairs, and we start seeing, basically, Kujo Sara just knocking out guards like crazy, just beating them up. But then, as we keep on going up the stairs to where Raiden Shogun actually is, we start seeing more and more guards beat up, and then we go in, and then we see Kujo Sara on the floor with Raiden Shogun and Signora, of all people, right there, having a conversation. Raiden Shogun is basically talking to her, and Signora says, I can't believe that you would barge in here. With how many people barge in here, I would think that this was just a normal street and not, your throne like room and everything. And we kind of confront Signora about the delusions. We state that, you're behind this. We know what you did. You stole Venti's Gnosis. You're a bad person. And ends up being that we're, starting a fight with Signora. And because we know kind of like the ideals of Inazuma and kind of what goes on, we challenge Signora to a duel in front of the throne of the Raiden Shogun, which has to be upheld because Raiden Shogun says, like, accepted, do it. So we fight Signora as a boss battle, and at first Signora starts with the ice. It's very hard. It's a challenging fight, and trust me, if you guys get the chance to, it is worth the fight. But starting out, she starts out with the ice and the duel, and it's a little bit hard, but then she changes to the Crimson Witch, and oh my god, this fight becomes so much harder. Like, I talked about this in a previous video as well, where the boss battles are getting a lot tougher, and it started really with Liyue's additional bosses with the Primo Giova shape and the Azdaha fight. And this is definitely proving that the scaling of battles is getting higher and higher. But we end up defeating Signora, and after the duel, the Raiden Shogun walks over to Signora, and Signora's like, you can't just kill me here. How dare you? I refuse to lose, and blah, blah, blah. And Raiden Shogun just obliterates her. One hit, KO, out of commission. She's done. And it's crazy to just watch it happen because it was just, we're sitting there just like beating her with a stick, trying to get her to die. And Raiden Shogun's just like, yeah, tosses her aside. The Raiden Shogun then states that the Traveler is the enemy of eternity, but because we won the duel, she allows us to leave her throne and transcend down the stairs. But as we're going down the stairs, we actually have this weird dream-esque sequence, but it's actually the Raiden Shogun's power. Like, we're literally under this like electro I would say hypnosis in the sense, and we're going down the stairs and lightning is striking all around us and Paimon's trying to talk to us, and over time we would get these little headaches that we have to fight off. But we continue to go down the stairs until we get to a cutscene where we see Goro, Kazuha, and the Resistance coming up the stairs, and then all of a sudden the Raiden Shogun just comes out with this giant freaking like, it seemed like she was more gigantic, but she was about to slice us down. But what's really cool is the vision. Oh, where is it? There it is. The vision that was actually on the other, like, that was basically Kazua's friend, is shown right there, like the Electro one, and it starts to light up, and then all of a sudden, with like as fast as he possibly could, Kazuha actually blocks the blade from hitting the Traveler, and not only that, but blocks another hit as well before the Electro vision kind of just dies out. It's done. So it was like a one last attempt at saving somebody. And then from there, the Traveler goes into like, emergency mode. She like he and she, whoever you chose, like gets their sword and activates, their electro powers and is about to strike the Raiden Shogun until the plane of euthymia actually envelops us and we see A in meditation, which is actually really, really cool. Like, I liked this scene. I thought it was so cool to see her. But from there, basically, we cause a conversation between us and A. A states that she didn't see anything wrong with the Vision Hunt decree. She said that it didn't hurt Eternity, which was her ultimate goal. She wanted to keep everything, you know, the same as it always had been. So in that way, it never gets damaged and never hurts, you know. And we, as the Traveler, challenge her to shake her will. And honestly, this battle with the Raiden Shogun was super tough. Like, I think honestly, like, again, it comes down with the boss battles itself getting harder and harder each update. And I like it, but I also hope that it doesn't get to where like it's hard like constantly. Because God, this was a tough one. Shortly after we do a lot of damage, we lose our abilities. If you didn't use the Traveler at all, you would have no abilities. If you use the Traveler, you would have your Traveler's abilities, and that's it, which would make the battle easier, obviously. But who's using the no offense to the Traveler, but we're using other characters. So after logging out your abilities, you get another cutscene where like this is after you do a little bit more damage without your abilities. Yai appears in the plane of euthymia from the little charm she gave us, and she like basically I recognizes Yai instantly, and it's like, what are you doing here? And Yai tells us that it's not just our ambition alone that the Traveler is fighting for. We're fighting for everybody who had their visions taken for the Vision Hunt decree. And it's almost like a Super Saiyan moment for the Traveler, because the Traveler all of a sudden gets all the abilities back for all the people that she's, using, or he or she is using, sorry. And again, it's just a random Super Saiyan moment for us. And I thought it was really cool. But of course, that doesn't stop the battle from happening. We continue the battle and we win against the Raiden Shogun. After we win, Yai and the Traveler start to talk to A, but A tells us a story about what happened in, kind of, eh type of ways, I guess. Basically, to sum it up, A was a shadow for the god Baal, and Baal was killed during the war against Orobashi. So that's kind of the sum up of what's going on, which is crazy to think, but it continues from there. Yai and A start to have a conversation about the ideals of A. It continues to hold dear. This is kind of a picture from when that happened, and then this is the continuation picture from basically after. This is something that's completely different, but it works with what's going on here. Yai is actually just pressuring and pressuring and pressuring A to understand that what she's going through is not helping Inazuma, it's hurting Inazuma. And you start to see the crack in A's armor from here. The friendship between them is shown in such great lengths. I love this dynamic. It's fantastic. And Yai says all the stuff that I missed would take centuries for them to talk about, but eventually they bond again, and I recognizes that she needs to abolish the Vision Hunt decree. It's going to hurt more than, help. So, but at the same time, she actually needs to take the time to think about what to do with the nation. We also find out that the Kujo clan will also face punishment as well for what had occurred. We go back to the Grand Narukami Shrine to talk to Yae, and we find out that Yae came to the rescue, came to rescue us at the Delusion Factory. She actually gave Scaramouche Ai's Gnosis. So now, not only do they have Venti's and Zhongli's Gnosis, they have A's, which I get where they're going with the story on this. Yai had no choice to rescue us, and honestly, like, I can't blame her. So giving Scaramouche A's Gnosis made sense. Yai entrusted Yai with the Gnosis, and again, she wanted to save us. So this goes into the end of the quest, but we get a bunch of bombshells that happen during this. There are 4 selections that you could choose, and honestly, I think 3 of them obviously hold something that are going to be a part of the future of Genshin. I will not talk about the 4th one where we ask about the sister. All it is like, I'll help you in any way I can. That's it. So we talked to her about the Raiden Shogun puppet, and Yai thanks us and says, we that she's willing to answer any questions. We find out that Scaramouche is actually a prototype puppet that I had thought about discarding but let roam to Vat instead. And because of that, the Fatui got a hold of that puppet of Scaramouche, and basically they're trying to make it more powerful than its original specifications. So that was a bombshell, finding out that Scaramouche was actually a puppet of the Raiden Shogun. And we see how tough the Raiden Shogun is. That just goes to show how tough Scaramouche is. And it's scary to think about that. So we ask then about, the Raiden Shogun in general, and we hear the story about how Baal and A were twin gods. A was basically known as Beelzebul, and Makoto was the name of Baal, who that's her relatively known name, was Baal. Makoto was killed during this war, and again, it just goes to show that loss affects people in many different ways. And that, I think that's overall what the story was meant to kind of take or kind of put into us, is that loss is something that people do, or loss is something that people process differently for everybody. And I applaud it, because again, while I disagree with the Raiden Shogun, I can understand. She doesn't want to lose anything else. So, but then we ask her about what's next for us, and then again, another bombshell to me, in my personal opinion, is that we are told to go to the continent known as Sumeru, which is the Dendro region, which means, in my personal opinion, that all but confirms that in Genshin 3.0, we will be going to Sumeru, the Dendro continent, and we'll be getting Dendro characters, which I am absolutely excited for. And then basically that story ends there. And the only thing I really want to talk about outside of that is that I love this story. I thought it was so good. It was such a good story. It told so many different plots. We learned so much about other characters, and it just tied the world of Inazuma together, and it was so awesome to see this. So honestly, like, again, I highly recommend this story. I think that it really bolstered how good Genshin Impact is as a game. But you know what? Let me know in the comments below what you think of the story. What was your favorite part of it, and what was the biggest thing that you took out of this story? I honestly will give this story 10 out of 10. Great story. Loved it. Kept you going. Kept you invested. But we will also be back with another one where we talk about the dating thing, which is, just after this. So we're going to end it here, guys. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to entertain you. This is a little bit longer than I originally intended it for. It's going to be about a 40-minute video, so I apologize. But bear with me, guys. Anyways, love you all to death. As always, don't forget to check out all the links down below. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. And as always, guys, we will see you all in the next video. Take care. Be safe, guys.